Well, it's been a minute. Some things have, well, I guess it really hasn't been a minute for you guys, but it's 100% been a minute for me. Uh, it's been probably about, if it's probably been about a month or so, maybe a little bit more than that since I recorded my last one. And if you can count, that means that it took me about three to get in until I started hitting the brakes just a little bit. And as you can also see, there's really nothing. This is different. Well, there's a lot of things different. My hair is different. The Christmas tree is up. There's a painting on this wall. I don't have my laptop. I don't have my Bible out. Among other things, things are different, and that's okay. Things are good when they're different. Oof. This one might be a little choppy. It might get chopped up a little bit. It might not. I am unsure of my vision for this particular episode. I kind of wanted to come on here and I didn't have a verse. I didn't have a section of scripture. I just kind of had my brain. And, whenever I first started doing this, I talked about how I wanted to speak kind of like similar to like a video journal, but also like a conversation. And so I think part of doing the video journal and the conversation is that I'm just willing to be vulnerable and that I'm willing to do what I feel led to do within the realm of creating this. And so if you're here for this, thank you. If you think this is awful, this particular setup about what I'm about to go into, it's okay. I appreciate you at least giving it a shot to this point. And so I think I just kind of want to talk about how I'm doing and how I feel spiritually, emotionally, and just in my life right now. Because sorry, I always look around my apartment because oftentimes I sit right over there on my couch and I don't have the TV on, I don't have music on. A lot of times I don't really have lights on, except I'm like right now I have like my Christmas tree lights on and stuff. I'll have minimal lighting on and I'll just look, and a lot of times that feeling is grateful, and sometimes that feeling is sad, and sometimes that feeling is proud, and it's a multitude of things, and sometimes whatever the strongest feeling is different than what it was last time, because that's how we are. And so that's kind of why I look around a lot. I do it in the other ones as well, because I do the same thing in conversations. When I'm thinking, when my brain's moving, it's like my eyes just don't work. It's like my brain focuses so much on what I'm doing with my mouth, and it's like your eyes can go on autopilot and go wherever it wants at this point. But we can get into kind of how I'm doing. There's obviously a reason and reasons why I haven't done an episode in a month. And I think it's because I'm living kind of in neutrality right now. And I've done that a lot, like in my life. I've done it a lot in my life, several times. And it's always, if I'm being honest with myself, it is, neutrality is my safe haven. Because I'm extremely opinionated and I am extremely emotional, and so neutrality doesn't necessarily come easy when I'm doing well, because neutrality means I'm putting myself and what I feel is important to the side, or what I know to be important to the side. And when I say I'm living in neutrality, what I'm trying to say is that, like, I don't think I'm necessarily going against God. Well, I don't think I'm necessarily living my life against God, but I definitely feel as though I'm living my life in avoidance of God. And that's hard because I am still serving at the church in kids ministry. I'm still, well, in a few ways, like I'm helping wherever I can. I'm still involved in my small groups. I'm still involved in college ministry. Like I'm still involved in ministry, and I'm still involved with my friends, but I'm not involved with Jesus. And so I oftentimes feel guilty when I go. I'll get an idea for this, and I'll write it down in my notes, and I'll start writing, and then I feel guilty because I don't spend time with the Lord, but I have the audacity to write down some stuff that I feel is connected to the Bible. And it's hard because I know that you can. That's just not the vision that I have for this. The vision I have for this is for it to be healthy and for it to be not only helpful for my spiritual wellness and my relationship with the Lord, but also to hopefully be helpful to others. And in a selfish way, I am not taking care of my relationship with the Lord. And so that is carrying over into this. Um, and I haven't even started putting these out. I had a goal, and I'm behind, but I'm not really behind. I wanted to start this in January. I wanted to get this going the first week of January and have it going maybe once every 2 weeks. And hopefully I've hit that goal. Whether or not I have or not, whether I have or not, I don't know yet because it's not there. We're not there. If I can turn things around mentally, spiritually, emotionally, then I for sure can hit that goal decently easily. And I guess this feels weird right now because it's not what I've been doing. And what's weird is that this is part of the vision that I have for this. And so it's odd to me that this isn't like what I've been doing. Because when I really think about what this is, this makes sense. What I'm doing right now makes sense. Because I want to be able to sit down, and I'm getting teary-eyed because I'm being honest. And I'm not trashing myself by saying that I'm not taking care of my relationship with the Lord. I'm being honest and I'm being vulnerable. And it's not like, oh my gosh, he's so humble. I'm allowing myself to share weakness. And I'm trying to keep myself, consistent and held accountable. And so, that's what this is. This is a project for me. This is a passion project. This is something I feel spiritually led to, and I believe there's a reason for that. And I don't know what it is yet. And so this is doing these is my step. This is my leap. It's something that I've always felt led to, like creating content in some variation. And so yeah, I hopefully I hit my goal. And like I said, it feels weird doing what I'm doing, but not really. It's just because this is finally, I want to sit here and rant, and I want to talk about how I'm doing, and I want to show people that it's okay to suck sometimes. Like, I wish that people would have been willing to tell me that it was okay to suck when you're still doing ministry. Like to have those moments of like, you're not doing well. Because mentally I'm feeling like I'm going berserk. And that's okay. I recognize that I am mentally constantly feeding lies to myself, and I believe that is a lot of spiritual warfare. And that's a buzzword. I guess technically it's two buzzwords, spiritual and warfare. But it's a reality as much as it is a buzzword. It's something that we live with. And so I I get really defeated, not very easily necessarily, but it's almost like I'm starting from behind because that's how this works. This isn't news to people who have struggled with this. You know what I mean? Um, I feel broken, and as much as we all are broken, when you become so, as you feel, self-aware broken, it almost feels as though everyone else is so put together and you're not. And so I'm there. I'm right there. I feel as though what I am doing is not enough. I feel as though the relationships I'm in are not for me, but uh, or they don't feed me. I feel like they don't feed me, but they are. Like that's a lie that I'm being fed. I'm being fed that I believe a lie that I'm being fed is that I'm not being fed into, or that I'm not being poured into, and that's just a lie. Um, I'm 22. I um, I live alone. I am blessed beyond my means and my dreams ever. As a child, I'm living a life that I couldn't have dreamed of. I have friends who love me. I I have friends who I consider family. I live in a beautiful place that I'm beyond lucky to be in. And this just goes to show you that you can have you can have what you've been looking for. And it just shows me that it's not enough. You know what I mean? Um, I I go to work, I come home, and I sit on my couch, and I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. And there are people who aren't fortunate enough to do that. They don't get to relax, or all they can do is relax. And so um, it gets hard. That's another thing that I wish someone would have just told me whenever I first started dealing with this a few years ago, is just that like where you are is just non-comparable to other people. Uh, your struggles are your struggles, and what you deal with is what you deal with. And your experiences in life will be different than other people, but they will be equally as important. Because uh, I feel like I'm going crazy sometimes because I get that feeling when I'm at work, or when I'm not really when I'm at home, but when I'm at work, or sometimes when I'm driving, I just get that feeling of like, you know that feeling when you're in the car and sometimes you just scream. Um, it's kind of a rare occurrence, very rare. But you know that feeling of like you just got some bad news and all you can do is just like you just sit there and you don't know what to do and you just feel it building and building and building and then you just let it go. Um, I get that sometimes, and I've noticed a sort of a movement that I do. I guess a tick would be. I like chomp. I go. Sorry if that like was like super duper loud. Um, I notice I do that as of late, which is funny. That's a weird thing to be self-aware about. Um, but what's been getting in the way of all of this to say, what's been getting in the way of me doing these videos is that I get to feeling guilty about what's going on between me and the Lord and the lack thereof. And when I started these, I was what people. That's the thing, man. I was what people would consider a healthy Christian. Where I was reading the Bible. I was reading my theological studies books. I was praying, uh, and I can't tell you the last time I picked up my Bible for something outside of kids ministry on a Sunday, or prayed longer than a minute, longer than 30 seconds, and for something that wasn't for me. The last prayer that I had was, God, please just fix everything at once. Genie in a bottle. And I don't want this to come off like uh, I feel like this is coming off as though I'm worse off than I am. And that's the problem. The problem is that what I am currently dealing with, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, is what a lot, a lot, a lot of people are dealing with, especially within ministry, uh, where as Christians we all recognize that we're broken, but sometimes you feel a little extra shattered. You feel a little extra broken, and I just feel as though there's not the support necessary as a church community for the amount of people that it actually consumes. Because we like to think that it's like, oh, there's a few people in the church that deal with it. It is probably half your church. And I hate to be this guy, but generationally, it is in younger people more than older people. I would say 30 and down. Probably 15 to 30. In if I had to give a guess. That 15, I guess that's technically like 17 years. That 15 to 30 range. And if you want to get more specific, I would say it's that 15 to 24 range. That all deal with like super similar symptoms. Excuse me. But it's not that people don't believe that it exists. It's that people, and understandably so, do not want to believe that it exists and that it's prevalent and that it's a problem. Because that's hard and it's scary and it's sensitive, and as someone who is willing to not necessarily walk on the eggshells but to just stomp on them, it sucks. And it sucks for people. I love to talk about it. But I love to talk about it, but in a way of like, it is okay because this is the thing. I love to talk about it in a way of not that, oh, this is how I am, this is how I'm going to be forever. No. I love to talk about it in a way of, I am so much better now than I was when all of this started years ago. Just a couple years ago, because the Lord has redeemed me. And so I think it's important to talk about it in a hopeful way, as well as a way of understanding. Because if we don't go to these people and say, I understand, if we don't go to these people and say that I understand what you're going through and that it is a real problem and it is a real thing, and I'm not saying that you're broken, but there's fixing to be done. You haven't broken anything. This has been done to you. This is a byproduct of what's going on around you. Maybe you've made a few mistakes and this is where you've ended up, but you are okay. One of the things that the Lord, early on, 2021, July of 2021, I was praying, and I was in a very deep, dark time of my life, my short life, and I just remember God saying, it is going to be okay. Now, audibly, no, but it was one of those thoughts in my head that was very counteractive to what I was thinking for months at that point. And I bawled my eyes out like a baby. And if you know me, you know I bawl my eyes out like a baby constantly. And that's all That is so helpful. And if people would just say that to other people and mean it, then it would mean so much to everyone. It is all going to be okay. I look like a baby. Crying's cool, man. Um, crying needs to be more accepted. I'm sorry I feel. You know what I mean? That's what's been getting in the way of me doing these. I've been I've been detached. I have been on autopilot, unavailable. Um, if the Lord called me, I would hit ignore. Put it bluntly, that's where I've been, and it's been hard because I mean it's always hard, dude. I I you go from doing well, you stumble, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm done with this for a little while. Let me take a little break from this Jesus thing. It's not how relationships work. It's not how love is. You don't you don't do that. You don't take a little break. You figure out what the problem is. You talk through it. You walk through it together, and then you go, I'm glad we did this. I somehow I thought I could never love you more, but here I am, Jesus. I just wish that was what we naturally would take to, but we definitely don't. We 1000% do not. I don't know. Emotionally, I feel like I'm doing okay. I don't feel as though I'm on the edge. You know what I mean? Like I feel very aware. Look, dude, look, I know this is so funny because what I'm thinking about is the fact that like last time I was here, I was all uppity. I was like, "Yeah, dude, Jesus rocks. This is awesome." I have my Bible on my laptop. Then this time I come in and I like buzz my hair, I bleached it, and then I'm like, "Guys, I'm not. It's not doing too hot right now." And so when I sit down, I go emotionally. I think I'm pretty stable, and I'm rocking a buzz and bleach. It it sounds absurd, but look, I, like I said, being honest, um, emotionally up and down. But I have yet to feel loose because all I've ever, from the time I felt like I've really known God, I've never seen him as anything other than a provider. And if I've ever been in a mess, then I've always gotten out. The Lord has always given me a way out. Sometimes I haven't taken it because I'm an ignorant human. But the Lord has always provided me a way out. And so I am glad that I was able to sit down, talk through some stuff, just rant, and hopefully you guys are still here through the end of this one. The game plan is to go back to normal next week or the next next time I upload. The semantics of this have not been run through. We're just not. I'm not at that practice yet. Sorry. But hopefully you guys stick around because I am hopeful for how potentially helpful this can be, not only for me, but I think for other people, man. As just want you guys to know, it is extremely normal, and I mean extremely normal for you to be dealing with any sort of mental health issues, just emotional damage, spiritual damage, and still serve in ministry. But in my opinion, what I personally feel, um, I you this shouldn't even be in my opinion. You have to be willing to face it and be real and be vulnerable and just ugly cry it out. not to say you need to hide it and ditch it and ugly cry it out and boom, you're done with it. You need to be able to work through it openly with somebody, something. I have people that I openly work through things with, um, and I also have this, like I have this creative practice. So I thought about doing this and not even uploading these at all, which is crazy. Like I mean, just as a practice. Um, so it is okay to struggle with these things and also understand the Lord is in the process of redeeming you and has never not loved you. And so just be willing to go into this and say, I'm broken and I feel broken and I've yet to feel whole in any part of my life. But I want to, Jesus, or I want to, friend. um, but bring it to Jesus and say, please fix me. Send somebody to fix me. Allow, God, I want to be fixed. And fix is a weird word. But here's the little silly part that a lot of people don't enjoy, including myself for a long time. Fixed is the word. We're not well, and we're not great, to be honest with you. We may be made in God's image, and that is for sure, but we are not God. And so fixed is a great word to use when describing what we would like God to do with us. We dance around to be like, purify our hearts, Lord. Clean my hands, purify my heart. Yeah, fix me, dog. So I love you guys, and I mean that. Whoever you guys are. And I hope that we can all just learn to love ourselves and just to give ourselves a little bit of grace. Take that as a practice from Jesus. Jesus gives you grace. Maybe you should give yourself a little grace. You know what I mean? You suck. Ask Jesus to fix you. Let others love you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But all right. Thank you.